Welcome to Terra Stories Impact Investing series. In this series, we explore impact-focused public and private companies in multiple market sectors that utilize proven, cost-effective, and game-changing sustainable technologies that reduce costs and increase efficiencies, as well as shareholder value. I'm Tony Saxton of Terra Group Holdings, and I'd like to welcome Sarah Evans and Kathryn Bergmann of Well Beyond. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Sarah and Kathryn, you founded two organizations in this space. The first, a nonprofit called Well Aware, which we recently featured in our News from the Field podcast. And today we want to discuss your for-profit venture, Well Beyond. With that in mind, why don't we start with you giving us quick snapshots on your backgrounds and how you decided to get into the business of clean water?
Sure. I'll kick us off. So I do not have a background in water or international development, but I went to law school and I was in the legal world for a little while, and then sort of in the legal political world when I was asked to help with some nonprofit paperwork to be able to raise money for some livestock in Kenya. And I agreed, and then I got really obsessed with the project, and I decided, I think what we need to do here is actually provide some clean water for this community, because that was the problem with the livestock. And this was in Kenya back in 2007-8 when the drought was really, really bad back then. So I talked this small group of friends into instead raising funding for a water well, which I knew nothing about at the time. And we did, and we had a weird fundraiser to start. We did our first project early on in 2010, and now I'm exceeding the scope of the question, so I'll pass it to Kathryn.
I'm Kathryn Bergmann, and I am an engineer by trade, civil and environmental. I have background working in the structural industry for 6 years, and got involved with Sarah at Well Aware and started volunteering as a tech team member, and then decided this is what I wanted to do full time. So I jumped on the bandwagon, and here I am.
It's wonderful. So the first project was for cattle specifically, and clean water, basically finding clean water for cattle. Was that accurate?
Yes. Yeah. This was in the very beginning. So Well Aware came first, the nonprofit, and then the for-profit, which is sort of flip-flopped from traditionally how these things are done. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a friend of mine, her father was from Kenya, and she had recently traveled over there and came back. And the Maasai, their main livelihood is the livestock, the cattle and the goats, and they were struggling immensely because they were all dying and they couldn't keep the livestock alive. And so she came home and she really wanted to help her family. And that's how it all began. But the thing is, and this, I like to talk about this because it's the philosophy we carry through in all of the work we do in both companies. And that's, we really wanted to figure out what the root cause of the problem was and why the livestock were dying, and what could we do that would solve the problem, but would also solve the problems that were counterparts to the main issue. Because, even just relates to water, a holistic approach is necessary if you want to have a project that's sustainable. And that's something that we practice all the time now and know very well.
No, that's very true and wonderful. So tell the audience, if you don't mind, about Well Beyond and how Well Beyond and Well Aware are interconnected or related, if at all, or so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So Well Aware is, like Sarah said, the nonprofit. And Well Beyond kind of grew out of Well Aware. Sarah and I quickly realized, as more and more other nonprofits kept coming to Well Aware saying, we love your success rate, we love your success model, we love what you're doing with these sustainable projects and the impact that you're making. They wanted to implement kind of the same solutions. So to be able to really scale that, we decided that we needed to be a for-profit company in order to help with consulting and their needs. So we formed Well Beyond, and then we quickly also decided that we wanted to harness this technology that's quickly developing in the nation, like in the world, internationally. The technology is crazy how everyone has cell phones, everyone has smartphones. So we realized that we could use that to really help these systems and scale our impact even beyond just the nonprofit.
Well beyond.
Yes. just the, working with organizations, but with the communities themselves and helping them help themselves.
Yeah. So we're a tech company now.
So let's talk about that and the business model, specifically about, for Well Beyond and the app, the technology app that you guys have pioneered, if you don't mind.
Sure. And we're still just trying to figure this out, but we've come a long way since we were actually in an accelerator program last summer, the Miller Center, the GSBI Accelerator Program, which really helped us refine our business model. Mm-hmm. But we're very mission driven, but we also see a pretty big opportunity for revenue and for growth. And it's interesting what happened last year. So about this time last year, we were almost finished building with our coders, building our beta product for water system maintenance and diagnostics, which is super cool. But then COVID happened. And we thought we might just be stuck, wheels spinning for a while. But the nonprofit Well Aware, and we got together, and they were trying to figure out what they were going to do with their implementation work. Why don't we just change up the app a little bit, and we can send this critically needed COVID information into these last mile communities because they weren't getting any information via our apps through our tool. And so we built out not just education and resources, but interactive trainings on how to make your own soap, how to build a sink, a tippy tap, they call it.
Face masks.
And it was really, really helpful and very successful. And we developed several new partnerships through that. And that gave us a little bit of traction in addition to the accelerator program. So now we have still all of these learning modules within the app. And we just started deploying the maintenance part of the app for water system infrastructure, which can also translate to other types of infrastructure in these communities. And we have our diagnostics fully coded, not yet deployed, but that's going to come in the next week or two. And the thing about this tool is, and how it played out, especially last year, more and more of these NGOs and governments in developing countries are realizing that they need a digital tool for the work that they do. We really need to be able to communicate with communities, strengthen partnerships, and relay critically needed information digitally, given that there could be a global pandemic at any time, and also just mileage, going back and forth, the time that takes. So lots of cost savings. So, and nonprofits, NGOs worldwide are already spending quite a bit of money on technology for fundraising and database management. So it's really not outside of the scope of their spending already. So we're quickly bringing on some new partners, and we're seeing some growth in revenue there, while we are supporting the nonprofit and using the technology for them just at cost.
Wonderful. And so is it a monthly fee subscription-based service, or how does that look? How does that work, rather?
Yeah, they can, choose if they want to pay monthly or annually, whatever works best. And it's kind of they can pick which features they're needed and modules and all sorts of different things. So
there's a standalone fee for account setup and a base fee that is not optional, which is account management, but everything else is a la carte. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. And what other water related services does Well Beyond offer across the board? Is it focused on the technology, or do you offer other consulting type services as well, or what's it?
We have done consulting. We primarily are focused on the app at the moment, but definitely for some organizations that we know and love and are able to. We, have a team of amazing engineers and hydrogeologists that we love to offer our services to if possible.
No longer the focus.
And we have a few more questions to go through, but for the audience, please put any questions you may have into the chat. I think there's a Q&A chat, and we can hopefully get to those as well. So moving forward, geographic regions, you're primarily focused on East Africa, or at least you started in East Africa with your nonprofit, correct? And are you focused on that region specifically for the app as well, or globally, or where are you going along those lines?
Yeah, we have most of our work in East Africa because that's where we're networked the best already, because we've been working in East Africa for 12 years now. However, because what we do is digital, it can be useful and is available worldwide. It's designed for last mile communities in developing countries, and we have a partnership in India, in Rajasthan, and possibly some work in West Africa, lots of work in Kenya and Tanzania and Ethiopia, South Sudan. I'm sorry, not South Sudan, but that was consulting job. Somalia, sorry. But we're really available to explore anywhere in the world. The setup might just be a little bit more work for us since we're a little bit less networked in other places.
And that's what's great about our tool too, is it's super customizable. So, depending on the region and the area and the types of systems that, are being implemented, we can really customize it to whatever's out there.
Understood. Thank you. So you mentioned that Well Beyond is mission driven. How would you describe the impact that Well Beyond is making in the world? And do you formally measure that impact in some form or fashion?
Yeah. Well, yes. Well, just by virtue of it being a digital tool with an administrative portal and lots of backend management, we're collecting a lot of data. So we can very easily see the impact we're having, even beyond just user accounts and then using the tool and the form builders and all of that. We ask specific questions when people are going for their maintenance checklists or diagnostics or even the training modules. So we're collecting additional information too on how many people are receiving the training, how long it took, even knowledge gained in some situations. So our impact is readily available with a click of a button at all times, which is cool. And the mission-driven part, the whole reason that Kathryn and I started this new company is because we wanted to make an even bigger dent in the water crisis specifically, but international development, because we know that NGOs and governments alike really struggle with success rates in infrastructure, specifically in international development, and building partnerships with communities and really actually setting communities up for success. And so we really think that we can reduce the failure rate with this tool, because we see a lot of really cool stuff come up in the sector that should be some kind of magic bullet, but it continues to take ownership and knowledge away from communities. But we have plenty of data to show that just really doesn't work for sustainability. So we're putting the knowledge and the ownership back in the hands of the communities, and we're providing the expertise that just isn't there through their phones that they already are carrying around in their hands all the time. So we're excited.
I got it. That's great. So my last question was actually about how you envision working with Terra, how Terra may be able to help your efforts across the board. And I see a question, one of our partners, Annie McClellan, who's our primary hospitality partner, asking, can Well Beyond utilize the Terra water purification system? So obviously we're deploying water purification, got atmospheric water generators, that sort of thing, for hotels around the world. Do you see a fit in that regard?
I think so. Yeah. I think it could absolutely be customized to help with the maintenance and diagnostic features. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's super customizable. So, whatever system and needs and maintenance is necessary, we can add it into the app and train people on how to use it and whatever to better maintain and care for the treatment systems, but also via our consulting partners, we may find good opportunity to actually add them to water systems in the places that we work. So yeah, and just working with Terra in general, we're so excited because Tony and Kathryn and I have been talking for a few weeks now, and we just see all of these incredible opportunities that we're very excited about talking about, and already in a teaming agreement conversation. Oh, and Tony, I forgot to tell you, but we will be at the Ma Trust next month. We're gonna go visit. Yeah, very exciting.
That'll be our first project together. Yeah, absolutely.
We have to go to the Mara. It's just
the darn.
It's just the hardest.
When in Rome, right? You have to go.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. Well, so we're in the process of integrating, and I think we've talked a little bit about this, but we're integrating alternative energy into the atmospheric water generating systems and other technologies. So we'd love to talk with you about integrating your technology into those units that we're going to be deploying all over the world. I see another question. Are you involved in desalinization at all?
Interesting. Yes, but not because we want to be. We actually know a few people who are making a lot of progress on desal technology. What we've used first-hand knowledge with to date is just reverse osmosis. We have a couple of projects that we've worked with on desal with RO. And that is okay. But since our focus is last mile communities, it's just not very cost effective. And it's very difficult to maintain for these communities. So it's not something that we really like to use. Now that said, we could probably design a feature in the app to better maintain always those systems. Yeah. Kathryn has had to rebuild an RO a couple of times.
I don't recommend it, but I'm happy to try.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Do we have any other questions from the audience? If so, please type in the chat or the Q&A. While we're waiting, is there anything else that you both would like to talk about?
Well,
the audience?
I think we're at a good spot now that we're open to talking to new possible partners. We're still working out some kinks and improving the coding and the user experience in the tool. So it's a kind of a cool time to get involved because we are still so very customizable. I can see that down the road in a couple of years we won't be able to be quite as flexible with what we are offering. But right now, I think we can definitely take on some more partnerships before the end of the year. So if anybody's interested in learning more, just chatting about it or asking us questions offline, we're website's wellbeyondwater.com, and you can find Kathryn and me both there and check out the team and watch a demo of the app.
Lots of demos on the app. Yeah.
We definitely encourage everyone to check out the website and look at the apps and the videos and so forth. And I guess if that's it, we'll wrap it up here.
Well, I'll mention too that August is Water Awareness Month. I don't know if it is officially. We know that Water Week is the last week of August, and the big COO Water Hub conference is happening in August, and we're presenting, which is cool. If y'all want to check us out there, it's a huge conference. It's digital this year, unfortunately, but they're still having it. But it's a good opportunity to check out water organizations, devote a little time to pay attention to these water issues. And then for the nonprofit, they're going to have an awareness campaign. The nonprofit website is wellawareworld.org. You can tune into some panels we're hosting and some information we'll be distributing during that month.
And is there a website for that specific event that you can direct everyone to? Will it be on your Well Aware website?
We'll put it on
the website.
The Well Beyond website. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all for joining us. And you can view this once it's edited. It's going up on our terra.bz/impact site. And we're excited to work with you. Sarah and Kathryn, thanks so much for joining. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having us.